The end of the world has been around for 2 years, with swarms of zombies, mutated plants, and sudden natural disasters making it even more difficult for people to live. Chi-Wan, who gave birth to vegetables in the base, was fired and resolutely left the base to come to a small town with 100% safety in the post-apocalyptic world. Chi-Wan is building a house here, obtaining materials, drawings, and synthesizing them. I had a wonderful little life, lying in a house in the small town, crossing my legs and eating grilled meat. What? He brought the entire base with him. Chi-Wan was shocked that there were only a few rooms left in her house when such a big surprise came. Just as life begins to be enjoyed, it is pulled up and fought for. I have no choice but to spoil my own man. Keywords of the novel. Natural disasters. Running infrastructure in a town in the end of the world without pop-ups, natural disasters. Running infrastructure in a town in the end of the world complete collection download txt, natural disasters. Running infrastructure in a town in the end of the world latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Encountering a small town after being fired. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Encountering a small town after being fired in a rudimentary office at the base of B City. There are already many water superpowers in the base now, you have been fired. A cold sentence, accompanied by spitting stars, hit Chi-Wan's face. Chi-Wan reached out and wiped away the saliva from her face. She looked at the fat head and big ears of the supervisor in front of her, and at his towering appearance, her heart was filled with resentment. It's really despicable, she's working diligently in the position of nurturing vegetables. Although she is very idle, she completes the tasks she needs to complete every day early. Just because of a related account, she was fired like this. Hee, that's really great. Chi-Wan was speechless and didn't wait for the fat-headed and big-eared supervisor to say anything before slamming the door out. She won't stay at this base anymore. The work of giving birth to vegetables is leisurely, but the gaze of those men is really disgusting. No matter how idle the work is, the salary is not high, neither food nor housing are included. All those salaries are spent on food and accommodation, it's not interesting at all. Chi-Wan returned to her rudimentary tent and looked at the pitiful crowd around her, bony and frail, like walking corpses without her own soul. The biggest difference between them and the zombies outside is that they have their own thoughts. But this idea also has little effect. Living aimlessly, I am not at all sorry for my former energetic self. Who would have thought that high-priced vegetables were nurtured by her hands? A person who gave birth to vegetables would actually live in such a rudimentary place. Chi-Wan smiled self-deprecatingly and walked out of the Xianyang base in B City, carrying her few luggage. The Xianyang base is a private base, and all the employees inside are suppressed. Even if the salary is low, the food is not very good. If it weren't for the presence of zombies outside, no one would be willing to stay inside the base and be exploited. People prefer to live rather than die. It's great to see the new sun. Chi-Wan held her rudimentary luggage, which was a backpack, and opened her hands, facing the sun. The two people standing at the entrance of the base looked at Chi-Wan like fools and whispered to each other. I'm not sure if I can survive after leaving the base. I remember she was a vegetable producer and couldn't help but leave the base. Although the two of them were whispering, Chi-Wan could hear and see clearly. Leaving the base, she doesn't know if she can survive, but if she doesn't leave the base, she will suppress her desire to die. It's not that she can't bear it, it's that her position has been squeezed. She also wants to work in one place until she dies of old age, like them, to spend the latter half of her life aimlessly in this world, but there are not so many iron rice bowls. About 500 meters after leaving the base, Chi-Wan encountered the first zombie. The leg joints of the zombie in front of him were broken, and he lay on the ground and quickly crawled over. His face was covered in blood, and he opened his big mouth, which made Chi-Wan frown involuntarily. She, who has been nurtured by staying at the base, has not improved her attack ability, but the water polo she can play in one go can be as big as a basketball. She aimed it at the head of the zombie, causing the water ball to wrap around his head. Then Chi-Wan quickly took out her stick and smashed it heavily at the neck of the zombie. With a click, the neck broke and water balls wrapped in zombies scattered on the ground, bringing out a first-level crystal nucleus. Chi-Wan happily picked up the crystal nucleus on the ground and said, "It turns out that the crystal nucleus was obtained in this way, clean and tidy. It's really good." In the early stages of the apocalypse, there were no crystal nuclei in the heads of zombies. By the time the zombie had crystal nuclei in her mind in the later stages, she was already doing fixed work inside the base. With crystal core, her future life can also be easier. Crystal nucleus is the universal currency in the world today. Whoever has more crystal nuclei is the boss. Chi-Wan specialized in walking on spacious roads, fearing that zombies would come out at corners she didn't know. Along the way, fortunately, all the zombies came out alone, otherwise she, who lacked combat, would really find it difficult to deal with those zombies. Not far away, Chi-Wan saw a beautiful house, which formed a sharp contrast with the surrounding dilapidated buildings. Some buildings, which were only built a few years ago, have now become dilapidated like abandoned buildings. She picked up her backpack and walked over with enthusiasm. As soon as I stepped into the beautiful tiled floor of the house, I heard unfamiliar mechanical sounds. "Welcome home, Master. This is the Master's small town. The house in front of you is your residence. You can go in and watch, which will be more convenient for me to explain to you." Chi-Wan felt a bit inexplicable. The sudden mechanical sound made her wary, but the house in front of her was too tempting. She couldn't help but twist the door open. The sound of the door lock turning is such a beautiful and long-lost sound. She stepped into the house and saw a large display screen on the living room wall. "Master, this is the task display screen. It will display the tasks you need to complete. For each task completed, you will receive rich rewards given later." Chi-Wan nodded clearly and looked closely at the task on the task display screen. 1. Submit a first-level crystal nucleus and reward would *2. 2. Submit a first-level crystal nucleus, reward mineral water *3. 3. Get rid of one level 1 zombie, reward boxed meals *1. Why can't I see the rest? Also, why is there wood? What's the use of using wood for me? Chi-Wan is puzzled. Does she use this wood as firewood to burn? "Master, this is Happy Town where you are located. All other houses in Happy Town need to be synthesized. Only with sufficient materials can new houses be synthesized for new tenants to live in." So, Chi-Wan understood that this was the content she had read in her previous novels. Find enough supplies and simply synthesize them. This is great, you don't have to build your own house. The requirements for Task 1 and Task 2 are the same, how can I distinguish between submissions? Chi-Wan now wants those 3 bottles of mineral water and wood, but she is not in a hurry. After all, this house belongs to her, so there's no need to worry about the new house. However, to be on the safe side, Chi-Wan still needs to ask, is the task on this task screen updated daily or will it be there all the time? "Master, these tasks will remain here until you complete them. When you complete the previous tasks, the next ones will take turns." Chi-Wan nodded, which made her less anxious. She took out one of the 11 first-level crystal nuclei she had obtained along the way. Looking left and right, there is only a wall ahead. How can I submit it? There's no place for me to put crystal nuclei here. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Level 0. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Level 0, just hold the crystal core and say the number of tasks you want to submit. Chi-Wan understood clearly, then it would be easy to handle. She held one of the crystal cores and said to the task display screen, "Submit task 2. The next second, the crystal nucleus in Chi-Wan's hand disappeared, and there were 3 bottles of 1-liter mineral water on the ground. It's really good, but this would. I'll submit it. If the customer comes and doesn't have a house, then even if they have crystal nuclei, they won't be able to make a profit. Submit task 1, Chi-Wan said, holding a crystal core in one hand. In the blink of an eye, 3 long and wide pieces of wood were added next to the mineral water. After submitting 2 tasks, the following tasks were updated. 1. Eliminate 1 level 1 zombie and reward boxed meals. 2. 2. Sell a bottle of mineral water and receive a reward of 3 mineral water. 3. Receive a guest who comes to inquire about the town and reward them with 1 building blueprint. Master, kindly remind us that only 1 house can be built on a building blueprint. Chi-Wan nodded clearly. This makes sense. If a blueprint can be repeatedly constructed, the difficulty of building a small town will be reduced. But she felt that building this small town wouldn't be too easy. Chi-Wan remembered that she had not yet visited the room, so she planned to take a look at the room first and then go out to complete task 1. Turning around, there was a room next to it, and the door did not open. Chi-Wan walked over, turned the door handle, and opened it to see that it was empty inside. Master, this is your warehouse where you can place rewards for completing tasks. Chi-Wan nodded, and after the mechanical voice finished speaking, there were several more shelves inside, on which were placed the wood and mineral water she had just submitted. She turned around and saw that the ground on the task display screen was empty. It seems that this will only change after she discovers it herself. It's also good to have a warehouse that automatically puts it in, so when she receives task rewards, Chi-Wan doesn't have to move it specifically. Next to this warehouse is a staircase. On the first floor, except for the living room, it's the warehouse, and there's nothing else. Chi-Wan went straight up the stairs. Walking up to the second floor, there was still an empty living room, without even a simple chair. But next to the living room, there is a French window, and there is a large balcony outside the French window. Walking onto the large balcony, you can still see the scene outside. The desolate land, when the wind blows up, can also raise noticeable dust. At first glance, the dilapidated house was in a state of disrepair, with the exterior walls already half cracked and occasional screams of zombies coming from inside. Chi-Wan thought it must be a zombie trapped at home. After all, when she just walked over, she didn't encounter any zombie attacks. Little did she know that while she was looking out from the balcony, someone was also staring at the only house in the town so far. When Chi-Wan appeared in the house, the person's gaze flickered with curiosity. Chi-Wan walked in and visited the only room on the second floor, which was the same size as the warehouse on the first floor, except that she could see a separate bathroom upon entering. Passing through the bathroom, you can see the full view of the room. Except for a bed, there is nothing else. There is a big French window in the room, but there is no balcony. You can clearly see a different scenery from what you just saw on the balcony from inside. The room faces another street, where there are 1 or 2 zombies on the road. Chi-Wan thought of the task on the task display screen, and later she could go to that street to get rid of the zombies. Hello, what requirements does the task display screen meet in order to view multiple tasks? She remembers that the mechanical voice didn't answer her question just now, and if she couldn't see more tasks, she wouldn't be able to perform multiple tasks simultaneously. Chi-Wan walked downstairs and returned to the front of the task display screen, looking at the living room without even a chair, where she could only sit on the ground. This time, the mechanical voice did not speak. Instead, the task display screen in front became 2 areas. The left area is Chi-Wan's personal information, and the right area is the content of the task. She looked at her personal profile on the left and instantly understood how to see more task content. Name. Chi-Wan task level. 100/2, ability. Water, level 2, age. 25 intelligence. 6 power. 2 agility. 2 warehouse. 3 mineral water, 3 wood. When you have completed 100 tasks, you can see more content. I just don't know how many more you can read. Chi-Wan touched her chin. it seemed that she needed to explore more things on her own. But now, she feels extremely thirsty and walks into the warehouse to take out a bottle of mineral water. 1 liter of mineral water is not much, and she has lost 1/3 of it with a gurgling sound. After drinking water, she had a noticeable feeling of fullness, but it was all due to drinking water to make her feel full. Before long, she would become hungry. She left the mineral water bottle she had drunk in the open living room and drank it when she came back. Chi-won turned her wrists and joints, did some warm-up exercises, and prepared to go out and fight zombies. After wandering around the house, she finally put down her backpack and only took out the stick that helped her get rid of many zombies. This time, she also needs to use this stick to complete the task. She walked out of the door of the house, stood on the tiles within 1 meter of the ground, looked at the zombies that had already swayed to the open space in front of the house, and breathed a sigh. The view in front of the house is open, not afraid of zombies suddenly appearing from the corner. She is a second-level superpower, not afraid of being bitten by first-level zombies, but afraid of having second-level zombies appear. If bitten, her risk of being infected with zombies increases to 50%. Chi-won walked out of the tile area and looked around cautiously. At the moment she stepped out of the tile, the zombie smelled the meaty aroma of the food and looked directly in Chi-won's direction. Chi-won felt a bit strange in her heart. She took a few steps back, and the zombie running wildly suddenly became confused. It's like losing a goal, you look at me, I look at you, but I don't know where their delicious food went. Chi-won knew in her heart that the ceramic tiles in the small town were a clear protection. As long as they don't leave the position of the tiles, zombies won't attack actively. Chi-won chuckled softly, not expecting to be able to survive on her own after leaving Xianyang base. She took a deep breath, took a step out with a stick, and looked at the 2 zombies continuing to run towards her 10 meters away. Looking at the obvious light in their eyes, it was a thirst for food. Blood and saliva flowed out of their mouths, and the decay at the corners of their mouths was accompanied by pus, which was very disgusting. But Chi-won didn't think it was too scary. When the zombie approached her 3 meters, Chi-won retreated back. It's just so capricious, and I think it's quite fun. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Cluttered Old Clothes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Cluttered Old Clothes. Seeing the zombie waving its teeth and claws, its nails were so sharp, especially the nails on one of its little thumbs, which were longer than the other fingers. She couldn't help but think of a gesture using only her little finger, and instantly felt nauseous through her own associations. Chi-won exposed her feet, and 2 zombies came running over with a thud. She didn't want to play anymore, and her stomach was already growling. She threw a water ball with her left hand, wrapping the heads of 2 zombies and the protruding little fingernail, angrily smashing it at the zombies' heads. After smashing dozens of times, Chi-won stood panting against the stick on the ceramic tile. Seeing the crystal nucleus that had already fallen out, she felt that her body and mind had become much looser. Picking up 2 first-level crystal nuclei, Chi-won stretched her waist. She lowered her head and saw the gruesome zombie. Her brain was beaten out and the whole floor was covered. She couldn't help but pursed her lips. It was her fault, and seeing that little thumb reminded her of her supervisor. That fat-headed and big-eared supervisor likes to keep his little fingernails long, scalp, ears, nose. Really just now, Chi-won treated these 2 zombies as greasy supervisors with fat heads and big ears to vent her anger. She took a long breath and didn't want to see those 2 zombies. She just wanted to see if her task was completed. She can't possibly carry a zombie to submit a task, she's a bit overwhelmed. Entering the house, closing the door, she saw that there was nothing in front of the task monitor, but she saw that there were 2 more boxed meals in the warehouse of her personal information on the left. She burst out laughing happily, feeling very happy. Take out the boxed lunch from the warehouse, open the lid, and see that it's fish-flavored shredded pork rice inside. I can't help but swallow my saliva, and my eyes are red. It's been 2 years and she hasn't had a boxed lunch for a long time. Now, finally, she has obtained this boxed lunch through her own efforts. In the future, there will be more boxed meals, and her life will definitely be better. Chi-won. Discard the idea that one day is a day before. Now, she lives for herself, and she must have a fulfilling life in the future. I've been walking from Xiangyang base for too long, and I usually don't have enough to eat. When I walk here, I'm so hungry that my stomach has been robbed. She really wanted to finish all the fish-flavored shredded pork and rice quickly, but reason told her to taste it slowly. Eating too fast is not good for her digestive system. If the stomach cannot tolerate it and vomit it, it will be very wasteful. 10 minutes later, she controlled her eating speed and only ate half of it. She plans to leave the remaining half for the evening. The additional task on the task display screen is not a boxed meal. Submit a first-level crystal nucleus and reward 3 iron nails. Chi-won took a breath and placed all the crystal nuclei she had obtained on the ground, specifically picking out the blue ones. The blue crystal nucleus can help her improve her abilities, but if it doesn't match, she doesn't want anything else. She is now a second-level superpower, and using a first-level crystal nucleus can still give a significant improvement feeling, but by the third level, the first-level crystal nucleus is not very useful. Chi-won took out a faint orange-red first-level crystal core and said, "Submit task 1. There are 3 more iron nails in the warehouse, so there's no need to think about it. It's also known that they are materials for building houses. Next task. Submit a first-level crystal nucleus, reward shampoo *1. Seeing this, Chi-won jumped excitedly in place. Before going out to kill zombies, she looked at the bathroom on the 2nd floor. There is cold water and hot water inside, but there are no bathing supplies available. She also took a brownish-gray crystal nucleus and submitted this task, obtaining a 500 ml bottle of shampoo. Chi-won originally wanted to rush into the warehouse and take out the shampoo, but she saw a new task. Submit a level 1 crystal core, reward shower gel *1. She was even happier, even if she rubbed the shower gel with her hands, she felt it was worth it. New task. Submit a level 1 crystal core, reward 1 bath towel, 1 towel. Hahaha, that's really great. I don't know if it's because of the early stage, so the task setting is not very difficult, and the rewards given are all what she wants. New task. Eliminate 1 level 1 zombie and reward 1 set of clothes *1. Seeing this task, Chi-won turned her head and planned to go out to find the zombies. This can be clothes, she hasn't had any new clothes for a long time. Before she could fully turn around, the task changed to, submit an orange-yellow first-level crystal nucleus, reward wood *6, the location of the warehouse in the left area. 3 mineral water, 3 wood, 1.5 boxed meals, 3 iron nails, 1 shampoo, 1 shower gel, 1 towel, and 1 set of clothes. Chi-won couldn't help but wonder if the other zombie she had just killed had completed this task. But she didn't care, it was really great to get a set of clothes. Above the warehouse location, Chi-won saw that she had already completed 100/7, and believed that as long as the task was not difficult, she could complete 100 tasks as soon as possible. She placed the crystal nucleus directly on the ground, and carried the light blue crystal nucleus with her. She took a sip of the mineral water placed in the living room, feeling her throat moistened, and then carried the remaining mineral water to the warehouse. Seeing that brand new casual outfit, gray, stain resistant, the size is the size she usually wears. I gestured and it didn't look very loose, but it felt just right. Grasping the casual suit with the left hand, and carrying shampoo, shower gel, towel with the right hand. Carefully walk up to the 2nd floor, afraid that this old clothes on my body will dirty the clothes, bath towels, and towels in my hands. Entering the bathroom, Chi-won placed shower gel and shampoo on the floor next to the shower, and hung new casual clothes on the hook behind the door. After rubbing for about half an hour, Chi-won felt that her whole body was fragrant. The fragrance of shower gel and shampoo gives her an unreal feeling, a bit floating. Although she is a water superpower, she only has water when washing her hair and bathing, without shampoo, and always feels like she can't clean her hair. Glancing at the sewage being discharged from the ground, she felt relaxed and put on her new casual clothes. The soft texture made her feel very comfortable, unlike her old clothes, which had already clumped up. She touched the casual clothes on her body, thought for a moment, and finally washed the old clothes. With the conditions in place, it is natural to change and wash clothes frequently. If you don't have laundry detergent, then use shower gel as it has a cleaning effect. Chi-won put her old clothes in the sink in the bathroom, filled it with water, and squeezed a few drops of shower gel inside, kneading it to create bubbles. Before she could even get ready to scrub, she heard a knock on the door downstairs. She washed the bubbles off her hands and walked towards the balcony, wiping her wet hair. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. First guest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. First guest. Looking downstairs, I did see a man. The clothes, which were also tattered and clumped, had a patch on them, stitched crookedly, as if he had sewn it himself. From Chi-won's perspective, one can see his oily head and some of his tangled hair. Hello, may I ask if you have anything to do? Chi-won asked downstairs. The man looked up, with a scruffy beard on his face, and saw Chi-won's clean casual clothes, wet and clean hair, as well as her pure white bath towel, which gave him a hint of envy. Chi-won didn't see greed in the man's gaze, so she eagerly waited for his reply. Hello, I see your house is very prominent around here. I wonder if you can live alone here. I can sleep on the floor. This man is the one who previously stared at Chi-won. There aren't so many zombies here, so he temporarily lives nearby. A few hours ago, he saw this house and wanted to come in and take it for himself, but the door couldn't open. He tried various methods, but couldn't get in. Helpless, he had no choice but to leave and return to his small rundown house. But just an hour ago, he saw someone else moving into this house, which gave him the idea to come and ask. I'm sorry, this house is destined for me and will only accommodate me. The man sighed a bit regretfully. It's really a pity that only one person lives in such a great house. Chi-won saw the clarity in his gaze, thought for a moment, and said. Do you have crystal nuclei? The man didn't understand why Chi-won asked, but he still answered honestly. I have water here, can you buy it? It's not expensive, one bottle of mineral water has 2 first-class crystal nuclei. This price is really not expensive. In the Xianyang base, a bottle of 500 milliliters water requires a secondary crystal nucleus. Her price is like jumping off a building, it's incredibly cheap. The man's eyes lit up when he heard of mineral water. Really? I'll buy a bottle, I have crystal nuclei. As he spoke, the man took out a few crystal nuclei from his pocket and showed them to Chi-won. Okay, wait for me downstairs for a while. Chi-won noticed that her hair was not dripping and she had almost wiped it, so she hung the towel on the pole on the balcony. Go downstairs and take out a bottle of 1-liter mineral water from the warehouse, then open the door. The man wanted to come in and visit curiously, but was stuck at the door and couldn't get in because he didn't know anything. This time, he found out that this house is very magical, and he really has no fate with this house. When he regained his senses and focused his attention on the mineral water in Chi-won's hand, he was shocked. Can I really exchange 2 primary crystal nuclei for a bottle of mineral water this big? Chi-won glanced at the crystal nucleus in his hand, which happened to have the orange-yellow crystal nucleus she needed. She also glanced at the other crystal nuclei, and the light purple crystal nucleus was quite attractive. I want these 2 crystal nuclei, she pointed to the orange-yellow and light purple crystal nuclei. The man happily handed Chi-won and took the bottle of mineral water. Although he cannot live in a house, with water, he can support it for a longer period of time. However, he still wants to ask. Hello, do you know how this house got here? I live nearby and when I came here, I wanted to come in, but couldn't get in. Chi-won finally realized that only she could enter this house. She suddenly remembered task 2. Receive a guest who inquired about the town, reward the building drawings *1 as long as the reception is sufficient, there is no detailed explanation on how to receive it. Chi-won walked out, holding a stick in her hand, just in case a man would do anything, all facing him head-on. This is a small town. When the man heard it, he saw a different house. How could it be a small town? Next, I will build a house here. Once I have a house, I can rent it out. And after coming here for so long, you can find that those zombies cannot smell your scent on the tiles in front of the house. The man turned around and glanced at a zombie wandering 100 meters away, walking aimlessly. If it were normal, that zombie would have come over long ago, but after staying here for so long, that zombie never came over. As long as it is a built house, only tenants can enter, and no one else can enter unless you invite them. Chi-won took the man around the house and he felt even more secure living here. But he is not the kind of extremely vicious person, and even if this house is owned, he will not rob it. What do you need my help with? I can do my best to help you as long as I can become a tenant of your house. The more a man looks around, the more satisfied he becomes. If he can move in early, he can sleep more soundly at night. Okay, but it depends on the situation, because I also need to collect materials before I can build a new house, Chi-won said softly. The man nodded frequently. Man, it's just that simple. With the goal of striving, the motivation to live will be more abundant. After the man left with mineral water, Chi-won came to the task display screen and nodded with a smile when she saw the 2 new tasks that had been refreshed. 1. Submit an orange-yellow first-level crystal nucleus, reward would *6, 2. Rent a house and receive a reward of 3 boxed meals. 3. Sell a box of rice and reward 10 strawberries. Except for the first task that can be solved now, the other 2 tasks cannot be completed so quickly. She walked into the warehouse and took out the building blueprint, with "wooden house" written at the top and the appearance of the wooden house in the middle. On the front of the wooden house, the door is located on the left, and there is a wooden window on the right that can be pushed open from inside. At the back of the wooden house, there is also a window that is not directly facing the front window, but rather staggered. Here is another reminder. For renting a wooden house, you need to pay a first-level crystal core every day, without water or electricity. There is no furniture in the wooden house, and any furniture provided by the mayor will be charged an additional fee, but the rent fee remains unchanged. Chi-won felt very conscientious when she saw this. Renting only charges rent, and the cost of rent will not be increased due to the addition of additional furniture. At the bottom, the synthetic wooden house requires 30 pieces of wood and 10 nails. But currently she doesn't have so many materials in the warehouse. The task she just completed was just 3 more bottles of mineral water and this building blueprint. Even if she completes the current first task, she only has 9 wood and 3 iron nails. It seems that the house is not so easy to build either. But it's not a big problem either. She just took over this small town today, and the rest of the time will be long. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Furniture Decomposable. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Furniture Decomposable. After Chi-won submitted the first task, a new one appeared. Find a bed, reward pillow *1. After thinking about the empty bed on the second floor, Chi-won felt that this task must be completed today. When conditions permit, one must create conditions for oneself. In the past, she had no choice in Xianyang Base, but now that opportunities are in front of her, she must firmly seize them. Chi-won walked to the balcony on the second floor and glanced at the street outside. Not far from the right side, there were several buildings, and there were several open doors on the first floor. I don't know if there are zombies inside, but I need to go inside and take a look. After completing the task, she will have a pillow. Before going out, she left some unused things at home. Yes, that's right. This house will be her home in the future. Bring a box of crispy pork ribs that she has never eaten before, and if she encounters survivors, she can sell this box of rice. Master, when you find a distant object, you can submit it locally to complete the task. The mechanical sound that had not appeared for a long time rang out again, and she thought she really wanted to move that bed back. Okay, no problem. Chi-Wan put on her backpack, held a stick in her right hand, and walked out of the room. Seeing the zombies outside in 2s and 3s, I cheered up and walked out of the tile-protected area. The man, also known as Zhao Lejean, was carrying his own mineral water and standing on the balcony of the dilapidated house. He saw Chi-Wan come out, took a quick sip of water, put it in his backpack, put on his weapon, and hurried out. Since Chi-Wan is going out, he also wants to follow along, all for the sake of the house he will soon be able to move into. He wants to contribute and build the house as soon as possible. Although he doesn't know how to build this house, as long as Chi-Wan has a way to build it. Chi-Wan looked warily at the distant zombies, and a gust of fresh wind blew the scent from Chi-Wan's body towards the direction of the zombies. Ha ha! The zombies in groups of 3 or 2 roared and rushed over. 1 or 2 zombies had broken joints, their limbs twisted beyond the normal range of human movements, their shoulders were already tattered, and the decaying flesh was drooping. Chi-Wan threw a few water balls directly, wrapping around the heads of the 5 zombies. For safety reasons, she also wrapped their hands around them. Relying on his position, he smashed the nearest zombie towards his spine with a stick, and with a click, his spine broke. Chi-Wan's strength was not strong, and while the zombie's spine was broken, her tiger mouth holding the stick also hurt a lot. But she couldn't relax, the smarter zombie had already swung her hand and knocked off the water ball on her head. We must fight quickly and make a quick decision. Chi-Wan carefully watched the movements of each zombie and tried to hit them a few more times before they could burst their heads. Suddenly, a zombie broke the water ball and waved its hands with a washed-out bloody mouth, grinning and grinning. Fortunately, Chi-Wan dodged in time, otherwise her new clothes would have broken in just a few hours. Damn it! Chi-Wan continued to hit a water ball, then added a stick and directly killed the despicable zombie. The other few were not as intelligent as him and were all eliminated by Chi-Wan one by one. Pick up the crystal nucleus on the ground and see the crystal nucleus that almost scratched her clothes and zombie, with a darker color. If eliminated later, it is likely to become a second-level zombie. No wonder they are a bit smarter than the other zombies. Chi-Wan let out a long sigh and looked around. There were no other zombies, but instead she saw Zhao Lejean. You're really amazing, dealing with 5 zombies alone. Zhao Lejean secretly regretted walking a little slower, otherwise he would have been able to get a zombie, and those crystal nuclei were very important. Fortunately, there may be a level 2 zombie nearby. Chi-Wan pointed to the zombie on the ground that was about to upgrade to level 2. This one is at the peak of level 1. Zhao Lejean frowned, indicating that there was a bit of danger nearby. He was just a second-level superpower, and it was a bit difficult to fight against second-level zombies. By the way, are you looking for supplies now? Chi-Wan nodded and went out to find a bed, also looking for supplies. She saw the backpack behind Zhao Lejean and asked that question again. Do you have crystal nuclei? When she was at her doorstep, Chi-Wan wanted to see that Zhao Lejean had crystal nuclei, but she couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't absorb useful crystal nuclei. There are, but not many. As expected by Chi-Wan, after carrying mineral water back, Zhao Lejean was momentarily happy and absorbed all the crystal nuclei he could absorb. Now he only has 2 or 3 primary crystal nuclei left in his hand. I have a box of crispy pork ribs, with 4 first-class crystal nuclei in one box, no color limit. Upon hearing this, Zhao Lejean's eyes lit up and he was a bit excited, but when he flipped through his crystal nucleus, there were only 3, almost none. I'll go kill the zombies later, there's still 1 left. I'll buy it when I have a crystal core. He has seen it all around and there are no other survivors. As long as he finds another crystal nucleus in time, he can buy crispy pork ribs boxed meals. Thinking about it, he couldn't help but drool. Are you going to that building? Zhao Lejean pointed to the building Qi Yuan wanted to go to and asked. That building is 5 stories high, with 8 rooms on each floor. Some of the doors are tightly closed, some are open, and some even have no doors. Qi Yuan nodded. There should be the bed she wanted in the house there. I have seen everything there. There are no zombies on the first floor, and there are zombies trapped in the room on the second floor. I will go to the second floor to kill zombies. Do you want to go with me? Qi Yuan shook her head and said, my goal is not to kill zombies. Zhao Lejean immediately understood, clenched the weapon in his hand, and rushed for the boxed lunch. Qi Yuan turned around and glanced at the surroundings, but did not see any zombies. She followed Zhao Lejean's footsteps and walked towards the direction of the building. After looking for a while, there were indeed no zombies on the first floor. The first house she entered had no beds, only fragmented wooden boards. Approaching the wooden board, Qi Yuan saw a decomposed symbol above it and clicked on it. Congratulations on obtaining 2 pieces of wood. Qi Yuan heard the mechanical sound as a reminder and glanced at the missing wooden board in front of her, knowing that the wood must be in her warehouse at home. Suddenly, she became even more motivated. Walking to the table, it was decomposed into 5 pieces of wood and 2 pieces of iron nails. Similarly, the table disappeared directly. Qi Yuan suppressed her smile and decomposed all the things with decomposition symbols in the room, obtaining 25 pieces of wood, 13 pieces of iron nails, 3 pieces of cloth, 10 pieces of plastic, and 2 pieces of iron sheet. A room with furniture was decomposed into a rough room by Qi Yuan, and there was almost nothing left inside. In the second room, I found a less than perfect bed and submitted the task. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Synthesis of the First Wooden House. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Synthesis of the First Wooden House. In case of updating tasks separately, Qi Yuan has no plans to go to other rooms. She will first go back and check the new tasks, and then see if she wants to break down the things in other rooms. Qi Yuan came out of the room and turned around to see Zhao Lejean in the corridor on the second floor. I'll go back first, he whispered. Zhao Lejean nodded. He wanted to take advantage of the current momentum and kill a few more zombies in the room, so that Jinghe could buy more things. In an open place, there are no zombies, let alone survivors. Most survivors have to go to places with more zombies because that's how they can get more crystal nuclei. I don't know when anyone else can come over except Zhao Lejean. Walking home without any obstacles, the first thing to do is to check the task display screen. See new task. Decompose furniture 3 times, reward a set of 4 pieces on the bed. *1, Qi Yuan had just finished reading the content of the task, and it disappeared. The warehouse in the left area now has an additional set of 4 pieces on the bed. Based on the task of removing a zombie just now and the current situation, she roughly understands. The task always exists, but she can't see it. Only when the task appears and she has reviewed the task content will it be displayed as completed, and the reward items will automatically enter the warehouse. It's really good, so I'm afraid I'll miss the task when I'm outside in the future. As long as I do it, there will be progress on the task here. Qi Yuan touched her chin, pondered for a moment, and looked towards another new task. Sell a box of rice and reward unlimited water dispensers. *1. Seeing this new task, Qi Yuan felt her eyes lit up. This task is more attractive than the second task, which is to sell a box of rice and reward 3 strawberries. A water dispenser, but it can be contracted for her subsequent drinking water. A knock came from outside the door, and Qi Yuan thought it should be Zhao Lejean coming. She walked over and opened the door. Standing at the door, Zhao Lejean was exhausted and his clothes were torn. There are slight scars on the body, I don't know what kind of scratch it was. Zhao Lejean smiled and took out 4 first-class crystal nuclei. I'm coming over to buy a boxed lunch. Chi-Wan smiled slightly and handed him the crispy pork ribs, silently reciting, "Submit Task 3. Strawberries are delicious, but they can only quench a momentary thirst. Different water dispensers can solve future water source problems in the long run." Zhao Lejean took the boxed lunch, glanced at the safe location of the tiles, and asked, "Can I rest here for a while?" He was really tired. When he was cleaning up the zombies in that building just now, he didn't expect there to be a second-level zombie inside. Fortunately, he reacted quickly, otherwise his life would have been ruined. "Unfortunately, my clothes have been scratched a bit, so I need to go out and find some new clothes to change." "Sure, you can rest there for a while." "Master, you can only rest in front of your room for 2 hours. If it exceeds 2 hours, it will automatically drive away." Chi-Wan understood and said to Zhao Lejean, "But I can only rest for 2 hours." Zhao Lejean nodded, as long as he could rest, it would be good. After he rested, he went back to his small dilapidated house. Chi-Wan closed the door and returned to the task display screen. Standing in the left area, she was quite satisfied with her existing supplies. Name: Chi-Wan. Task level 111, ability. Water, level 2, age 25 intelligence. 6 power. 2 agility. 2 warehouse. 5 mineral water, 41 wood, 0.5 boxed meals, 18 iron nails, 1 building drawing, 3 cloth, 10 plastic, 2 iron sheets, 1 set of 4 pieces on the bed, 1 water dispenser. How to synthesize this building? I think the materials are already sufficient. The owner only needs to click on the building blueprint on the screen, and then click on Synthesize. Chi-Wan Zhao did it, clicked on the building blueprint *1 on the screen, and then the content of the screen changed to what she saw on the paper blueprint, leaving the wooden house empty. The materials required below are green. Wood. 30/41, iron nail. October 18, synthetic. Yes/no, Chi-Wan clicked yes, and the display screen changed to another page. After reading for a while, she understood that this was a map centered around her house, and the red dots on it should be the location of the zombies. Because it is very rare and moves very slowly, wandering aimlessly on the road. It is recommended to build the new wooden house 2 meters away from the owner's house, and the new wooden house shares 100% safety protection. The new wooden house can be connected to the new wooden house, but the distance cannot exceed 3 meters, otherwise 100% safety protection will be invalid. Chi-Wan knew exactly what was going on, so she decided to build the new wooden house next door. There is a column below the map, and the first one inside is the small pattern of the new wooden house. She dragged the new wooden house to the right of her house. A new wooden house with 1 floor has been positioned like this. There is also a time countdown above, which is 5 minutes, not very long. Outside the door, I heard a knocking sound coming from the side and walked up with a half-eaten boxed lunch. The sound of iron nails and wood hammering was jingling, enveloped in a white mist, and the situation inside was unknown. It's really amazing that such an obvious sound didn't even attract zombies. Chi-Wan inside the house didn't care about the outside noise. She smiled and moved the water dispenser out of the warehouse and placed it in the corner of the living room. The water dispenser is a blue and white style, with a bucket upside down on top and 2 options for cooling and heating below. The red lights on both sides, hot and cold, are on fire, and the water cannot be poured out at this time. Once the green light is on, it can be used. Unfortunately, she doesn't have a water glass, otherwise she would have had a cup of hot water. Gulu gulu, my stomach quickly became hungry, and I had only eaten it for a short time. After some thought, Chi-Wan decided to eat the remaining half box of boxed food in the warehouse. She didn't see what the new task was and walked straight up to the 2nd floor. Her old clothes were still soaking in the sink and hadn't been cleaned yet. Now that you have time, you can just give it a good wash. When she washed her old clothes and hung them on the pole on the balcony to dry. Zhao Lejean on the first floor shouted in the direction of Qi-Wan. "Hello, the wooden house next to you has already been built." Qi-Wan finally realized that 5 minutes had already passed. The railing of the balcony extends out, and one can indeed see a wooden house next to it. The roof is flat, forming a cube-shaped rectangular shape as a whole. At first glance, it looks like a cube-shaped wooden house. Take a closer look, the width of the wooden house is slightly wider than its length. Congratulations on obtaining 10 cement, 10 stone, 10 wood, and 10 cloth, Qi-Wan. This is the material that was broken down from the old house next to it after it was demolished. With that, Qi-Wan understood. "Okay, I'll come down now." Qi-Wan shook the water in her hand and walked down the first floor to the wooden house. "My surname is Qi, you can call me Mayor Qi in the future." "Oh, my name is Zhao Lejean. I haven't introduced myself yet, I'm really sorry." End of this chapter. Chapter 7. The First Tenant. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. The First Tenant. Zhao Lejean smirked and looked at the wooden house in front of him, feeling much less embarrassed in his heart. The exterior of the wooden house is very smooth, and it reflects light under the sunlight, as if coated with a layer of wax oil. The overall color is brown, somewhat like a treehouse. If you want to rent a wooden house, you need to pay a first-level crystal nucleus every day. There is no water, electricity, or any furniture inside. If you want to rent it, just pay me a first-level crystal nucleus. Qi-Wan said as she opened the wooden door. There is no rented wooden house, and no one else can open it except for her. Inside, there is plenty of light and the floor is clean. Even if you lie directly on the ground to sleep, there is no problem. Zhao Lejean looked around and became more and more satisfied. It's okay if there's no furniture, he can move it from elsewhere. He just worked hard and got a second-level crystal nucleus. After thinking about it, he decided to stay. The other primary crystal nuclei can be taken out. Okay, Mayor Qi, I'm planning to rent it. All the first-level crystal cores I just obtained will be used to rent a house. He was reluctant to take out the crystal nucleus that had not yet been covered in heat, but there was no way. That second-level zombie made him feel insecure living in a small dilapidated house. I would rather work hard than live here. Zhao Lejean took out the 4 first-level crystal nuclei he had just obtained and spread them out in his palm. Bite your teeth and hand it over to Qi-Wan. Qi-Wan silently thought to herself, little butler, do I need any information to hire him? No need, master. His information has been entered and he will be checking in from today. At this time in 4 days, he must move out unless the lease is renewed. Mr. Zhao, here are 4 first-class crystal nuclei. You can stay here for 4 days, until 4 days later. Qi-Wan didn't say much, whether to renew the lease or not mainly depends on whether he has a crystal core in his hand. Zhao Lejean was extremely happy. With a house, he had a goal to strive for. He happily touched the walls of the wooden house, and then touched the floor. It was so great that he could sleep peacefully for the most secure sleep in the past 2 years. Before Qi-Wan left the room, she said. Mr. Zhao, during these few days of check.in, you don't need a key, you can directly open this wooden house, others can't open it. Returning to her own home, Qi-Wan was the first to see the task display screen. At this point, the task display screen has changed into 3 areas, with no changes on the left. The right is divided into top and bottom, with tasks on top and tenants on the bottom. The basic information of Zhao Lejean is displayed in the check.in information of the 001 wooden house, and there is also a check.in countdown next to it. Originally, it was calculated based on 24 hours, which is quite cost-effective. The task of renting a house has been submitted, and there are 3 extra boxed meals in the warehouse. At least we can guarantee that Qi-Wan will not be hungry tomorrow. Glancing at the latest task. Submit a purple first-level crystal nucleus, reward instant noodles *10, submit a first-level crystal nucleus, reward hem sausage *10, looking at this task, Chi-1 doesn't have a feeling. I feel that with tenants now, the amount of rewards given by the system has become more generous. Instant noodles and ham sausages are an excellent combination. Thinking of the purple crystal nucleus she selected at noon and another primary crystal nucleus, she tried to submit. The next second, the task is completed, and there are 10 more instant noodles and 10 more ham sausages in the warehouse. Chi-1 on this side was immersed in the joy of instant noodles and ham. A kilometer away, an off-road vehicle rushed over, followed by several fierce second-level zombies. As night gradually fell, it was still evident that the eerie zombies were moving faster than the first-level zombies. None of their skin was intact, they were all pale blue, and their pupils were gray. From it, one can also see their strong desire for meat among the few people on the off-road vehicle. From time to time, a few vines flew out of the window of the off-road vehicle, blocking the path of the zombies. Xiao Jinsong, who was driving, glanced at the fuel tank and furrowed his brow. We're running out of oil soon. The second-level zombies in the back are relentlessly chasing after us. Without oil, we can't beat them. What should we do? Chen Maorong, sitting on the right side of the back seat, turned around and glanced at the relentless zombies. Master, a guest has arrived. Chi-1 was lying in bed, feeling a bit confused. She didn't have a house to rent out, so what other guests could she receive? Master, you can sell mineral water, instant noodles, and ham sausages. Okay, Chi-1 understands that the mayor of this small town is also responsible for the work of the small shop. Chi-1's room was already lit up, and she got up and went to the balcony. She glanced outside and could vaguely hear the sound of the car. Then I saw a beam of car lights, followed by several rapidly moving second-level zombies. She shouted towards the neighboring house, Mr. Zhao, there are some second-level zombies here. Do you want to give it a try? Chi-1 means to shout out, after all, she understands very well that her first tenant no longer has a crystal nucleus. Zhao Lejean heard Chi-1's voice in the wooden house and rushed out directly. Crystal nucleus, where is the crystal nucleus? Staying in the cabin for a few hours is really relaxing. He no longer wants to go to the shabby house, where there is no sense of security, only his tense body and mind. With the crystal nucleus, he can continue to live here. When he finished speaking, he saw the off-road vehicle that was already within reach and suddenly stopped. Xiao Jinsong, who was driving, angrily hit the steering wheel and made a piercing horn sound. The car is out of gas, get off the car and run towards the place with the lights. There must be someone inside the house with lights, otherwise there wouldn't be electricity. In this post-apocalyptic era where electricity has disappeared for a long time, seeing electricity reminds one of the financial and power behind that person. Chen Maorong saw that the zombies were still some distance away from them, so he immediately got off the car. Zhang Xiaodong, who was sitting in the passenger seat, got off the car directly and turned around, releasing a mud wall to block the path of the zombies. Chen Maorong continued to release the vines, so if he could buy them more time, that would be more time. Xiao Jinsong hurriedly ran forward. He was just a power-type superpower, and he had no advantage in this long-distance battle. Quickly, the three of them ran to the tile floor in front of Chi-1's house. Several second-level zombies suddenly lost their target and looked around in confusion, but still walked in the direction of the front. Xiao Jinsong and the others saw several second-level zombies slowing down and quickly took a few breaths. Zhao Lejean walked over and greeted the three of them. Hello, I am the first tenant of this small town and currently the only one. If you have any questions, you can ask me. By the way, you can only rest here for 2 hours. There is 100% security here, but after 2 hours, it will be gone. This is a natural cognition that Zhao Lejean formed in his mind after moving in. He only then understood why Chi-1 only allowed him to rest for 2 hours on the tiles in front of the door. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Such a small town. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 8. Such a small town, is this so magical here? Chen Maorong said as he watched several second-level zombies walking forward but losing their target. I have clearly believed what Zhao Lejean said in my heart. This is really a magical place. However, a small town. Is it that small? This is the only house here that stands out from the neighboring wooden house. Chi-Wan in the room has not yet come out and is looking at the tasks on the taskbar. She didn't have these two tasks before she went upstairs, but now that guests have arrived outside, the tasks have changed. Previously, it was collecting supplies, just like searching for a bed, searching for appliances and tables, both of which were reward boxed meals. Now it's ready, it has become, selling boxed meals / instant noodles *5, rewarding beef jerky *10, selling mineral water *3, rewarding mineral water *10, however, for Chi-Wan, the impact is not very significant. She has 3 boxed meals, 10 instant noodles, and 5 mineral water, so she can complete this task completely. She took out 5 bags of instant noodles and a box of sweet and sour filet lunch from the warehouse, carried a bottle of mineral water to the door, opened the door, and saw the 3 tired Xiaojinsong. This is our Mayor Qi, and my house was rented from her. Zhao Lejean said to the 3 of them, extremely excited when he saw the instant noodles. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a single crystal nucleus in his hand. However, the zombies wandering outside. As long as they are solved, he can have crystal core to renew his lease and even eat instant noodles. Mayor Qi, leave me a bag of instant noodles here, and I'll go kill the zombies now. After speaking, Zhao Lejean walked towards those second-level zombies. Chi-Wan took out 4 bottles of mineral water and placed them at the door. She looked at Zhao Lejean's position and counted, there were a total of 7 second-level zombies, no wonder the 3 of them were so embarrassed. It has been 2 years since the end of the world, and many people are stuck in second-level abilities. Zombies are different. By devouring the crystal cores of other zombies, one can advance. However, there are not many zombies who know this method, they prefer the scent of human flesh. The town is currently open for business and the rental space is already full, but we can sell things. A bottle of mineral water requires 2 first-class crystal cores. Boxed meals and instant noodles both have 4 first-class crystal cores. 10 first-level crystal nuclei can be exchanged for 1 second-level crystal nucleus, while a third-level crystal nucleus requires 100 second-level crystal nuclei. The difference between the second and third crystal nuclei is large, and the natural exchange rate is also large. Xiaojinsong, Chen Maorong, and Zhang Xiaodong were shocked. It was the first time they had heard such a cheap price. Mayor Qi, can we really buy these things at this price? Chi-Wan nodded lightly and said, okay, that's the pricing here. Do you have crystal core? If not, you can kill zombies like Mr. Zhao did. Xiaojinsong and the 3 of them followed Chi-Wan's gaze and ran back, standing 1 meter in front of the wooden house. At times, he stretched out his feet and the second-level zombie rushed towards him at a very fast speed. When they approached, Zhao Lejean extended his feet back. This cycle was repeated several times, causing the second-level zombies to playfully move around. In no time, 1 second-level zombie and 2 second-level zombies were cleared by Zhao Lejean. There are still 5 zombies wandering outside, making it inconvenient for him to retrieve the crystal cores of those 2 zombies. We have Jinghe to buy, but please wait a moment, Mayor Qi, said Xiaojinsong kindly. These second-level zombies were brought over by them, and Zhao Lejean was offered such a cheap price. They expressed their dissatisfaction. Chi-Wan nodded, she didn't miss these few minutes, so let's wait. Xiaojinsong is a second-level power-type superpower, and he directly steps out of the safety guarantee of the tiles. The zombie, who was played with by Zhao Lejean, smelled the scent of meat on Xiaojinsong's body and made a hoarse sound. The gray eyes burst out with obvious longing. Chen Maorong stood inside the tiles, waiting for a few zombies to rush over. He used his own vines and grabbed the hands and feet of the two zombies at the front, imprisoning their movements. The zombies were tearing hard, and the nearby Xiaojinsong made them even more crazy, gradually tearing open the vines on their hands and feet. Another second-level golden body superpower, Zhang Xiaodong, walked out from the direction near Zhao Lejan's wooden house and headed straight towards the back of the zombies' heads. Xiaojinsong and Zhang Xiaodong fought back and forth, while Chen Maorong used his own vines to imprison the other zombies as well. Visible to the naked eye, he was very weak after using so many vines. He knelt down on one knee, with a little sweat rising from his forehead. Zhao Lejan, who was in front of the wooden house, saw that the zombies had been led over and, using the light from Qi Wan's house, took out the crystal nuclei from the brains of the two killed zombies. These are all secondary crystal nuclei. With these two secondary crystal nuclei, he can renew his lease here for 20 days. However, not all of them can be used for renting. We still need to solve the problem of food and drink. Not long after, all 5 zombies here were solved, and the crystal nuclei in their brains were also taken out. Xiaojinsong and his companions returned to the tiles in front of Qi Wan's house, panting heavily. Still not strong enough, it's a bit difficult to fight 3 to 5. In the future, we need to practice more, otherwise how can we kill zombies? The night has completely fallen, and the sky is shrouded in dark clouds. There is no moonlight illumination, and there is darkness ahead, which can be said to be a state where one cannot see their fingers. Standing in front of a house with lights and looking ahead, one will feel a strong sense of security in the house behind them. Mayor Qi, I'm here to buy a pack of instant noodles and a bottle of mineral water. Zhao Lejan walked over happily, with 2 second-level crystal nuclei spread out in his hands, which were the wealth of his entire body. Okay. Qi Wan took a second-level crystal nucleus from his hand, handed him a pack of instant noodles and a bottle of mineral water, and found him 4 first-level crystal nuclei. This second-level crystal core is for renewal. Zhao Lejan handed over another second-level crystal core to Qi Wan, feeling very secure in his heart. Qi Wan neatly accepted these 2 crystal nuclei, both of which were blue. She could absorb them, but she didn't know when she would become a level 3 superpower. Xiaojinsong and the others walked over with crystal nuclei, casually wiping off the sweat from their bodies. Mayor Qi, we have bought all the rest just now. Chen Maorong glanced at the dark wooden house next to him. Although there were no lights, he looked envious and wanted to live in it. Unfortunately, there is only one wooden house in the town now. It's so dark outside, so dark. After more than an hour, they must find a place to rest temporarily. Qi Wan handed them the remaining 4 packets of instant noodles, a box of sweet and sour filet lunch and 4 bottles of mineral water, and received 2 secondary nuclei and 8 primary nuclei from them. Our small town only has the wooden house next door, so we can't have any other tenants. You can find a place to live nearby. There aren't many zombies nearby, so be careful. If you still want to buy supplies, come over tomorrow noon. After speaking, Qi Wan went in and closed the door. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. A House with Lights. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. A house with lights. I've been running around all day today, from being fired by a fat head and big ears supervisor to now owning a small town. I'm already exhausted. After having a small town, she can sleep here with peace of mind. Nature, she needs to sleep until she wakes up naturally tomorrow to live up to her comfortable situation now. Outside the door, Xiaojinsong and a few others, using the lights on the 2nd floor, saw the supplies in front of them and smiled at each other. Qi Wan walked into the living room and saw that the task display screen had changed again. She now feels that the task display screen should not be called the task display screen. It displays too many things now, it should be called a bulletin board. The area on the right has changed and now it has become 3 areas. The top area is for tasks, the middle area is for tenant information, and the bottom area is for purchasing materials from crystal core. First level crystal core *1 exchange for boxed lunch *5 First level crystal core *1 exchange for mineral water *5 First level crystal core *1 exchange for instant noodles *10 First level crystal nucleus *1 exchange for wood *5 First level crystal core *1 exchange for iron nails *1 Second level crystal core *1 exchange for building drawings *1 There is only information about purchasing materials for these 4 crystal nuclei in total, but when she saw the last one, Chi-won felt that it was really good. Submitting tasks one by one is indeed quite troublesome. Especially for tasks that involve repeatedly submitting crystal nuclei and obtaining different materials. She glanced at the second-level crystal nuclei in her hand. There were a total of 4 second-level crystal nuclei, which could be exchanged for 4 architectural drawings. However, it is unclear whether she has enough wood and nails in her hand to meet the materials required for the architectural drawings. Chi-won looked at the personal information on the left, which showed that 21 pieces of wood and 8 pieces of iron nails were not enough to build a wooden house. It seems that wood and iron nails can only be obtained through crystal nucleus exchange. I didn't get many crystal nuclei today. Zhao Lejean got 2 bottles of mineral water, a pack of instant noodles, and a box of boxed rice, which is 12 first-class crystal nuclei. The second-level crystal cores for accommodation are used to exchange for drawings, and there are also 4 first-level crystal cores that can be used. As for what Xiao Jinsong and the others gave, there were only 8 first-class crystal nuclei that could be controlled. She doesn't have many crystal nuclei herself, and many of them are used to submit tasks. Finally, Chi-won exchanged 10 pieces of wood and 2 pieces of iron nails, and used up 4 first-class crystal nuclei. There are 20 first-level crystal nuclei left for future use. She clicked on the building blueprint *4 in the warehouse and chose to combine it into a wooden house, built on the left side of her house, which happened to form a left and right relationship with Zhao Lejean's house, expanding the area of the town. The synthesis was also completed in 5 minutes. Little butler, can the 3 of them stay in a wooden house? They are together. Chi-won asked. If she were one of Xiao Jinsong and the 3 of them, whoever lives in this wooden house would make others feel uncomfortable and unhappy. This time only, the current construction is for a single room. There will be 2 or 3 rooms in the future, all of which must be arranged for occupancy according to the number of people. After listening to the butler's words, Chi-won took a long breath. It's not that she's kind, but she's afraid that Xiao Jinsong and the 3 of them will choose not to stay in the wooden house because there is only one, and she will lose the cost of staying tonight until tomorrow night. How should the 3 of them charge? For the sake of fairness for Zhao Lejean, each person also receives a first-level crystal nucleus. Chi-won understood that she had already fought for the opportunity, and it would depend on whether Xiao Jinsong and his team were willing to hand over 3 first-class crystal nuclei. Zhao Lejean, from the wooden house on the right, heard a tinkling sound and walked out of his own cabin. He greeted Xiao Jinsong and the 3 of them with joy as they were still there. "Brother, what are you doing here next to me?" Chen Maorong saw Zhao Lejean walking over in a faint light and quickly asked. "Fortunately, you didn't leave and happened to be able to witness the construction of the new wooden house. Let's see if you want to live in. My wooden house is not expensive, and 1 first-class crystal core can live for a day." However, Mayor Qi said that only 1 person can live in a wooden house. Take advantage of Mayor Qi's absence. Think carefully, who will live in this wooden house tonight? Zhao Lejean poked his head out and looked at the wooden house construction next to him, still shrouded in white mist, retracting his head. It's dark outside, and he can't leave the protected area of the town. If he's ambushed by zombies lurking around, it won't be worth the loss. Xiao Jinsong and the 3 of them exchanged a glance, feeling a bit conflicted. They all wanted to move and the 3 of them didn't say a word. They didn't form a team for long, just 2 months. A bit selfish in their thinking, they all want to move in, but after all, they are 2-month-old teammates and it's not easy to be the first person to speak up. In no time, Chi-Wan walked out from inside, and the wooden house on the left had already been built. Zhao Lejean saw the obvious protective tiles in the small town and walked over, trying to open the door. Sure enough, it can't be opened, only Chi-Wan can open it. Can you three rent a house? Today is the first day of the town's construction, and a special exception has been made. The single room, which was originally only available for one person, now allows the three of you to move in. However, each person needs to pay a first-class crystal core every day. After the subsequent wooden houses are built, you can all have priority to move in. Chi-Wan's words directly scattered the words that Xiao Jinsong and the others had been thinking about for a long time to say to their teammates. They don't have to worry about what to say anymore, it would be best if they could live with 3 people now. Don't worry, Mayor Chi. We have 3 first-class crystal cores. Your price is not high at all. Those bases require 2 first-class crystal cores every day, and the living environment is not good. It's different here. Having a wooden house can also ensure our 100% safety in the town. Chi-Wan, who had just emerged from the Xiangyang base in the morning, naturally knew the prices of the base for several years and was not cheap at all. Since the 3 of you have no objection to the check IN price, let's proceed with the check IN. Chi-Wan and Xiao Jinsong arrived at the wooden house on the left and opened the door. It was dark inside, but the 3 of them didn't feel scared, instead they had a strong sense of security. Xiao Jinsong and the 3 of them took out all the crystal nuclei on their bodies, took out 6 first-level crystal nuclei that they didn't need to color, and handed them to Chi-Wan. They are very curious about this small town, but they have other things to deal with and cannot stay here for too long. Mayor Chi, we will stay for 2 days. Here is the room fee for 2 days, please keep it. Chi-Wan accepted Jinghe without hesitation and instructed him not to step out of the tiles, otherwise the safety of the town would not be able to protect them. Then she walked back to her own house. In the darkness where no one could see her, Chi-Wan's house stood out very prominently. That bright light, visible to nearby survivors. The sudden appearance of the house gave them more obvious exploration. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Greed and Calculation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Greed and Calculation. Some people have greed and calculation in their eyes, waiting for tomorrow's dawn. Chi-Wan didn't know this, she thought there were no survivors nearby. After all, there are fewer zombies and fewer supplies here. Those like Xiao Jinsong and others who stumbled over by chance are all fate in the dark, and fate in the small town. The next morning, the bright and dazzling sunlight shone through the window, splashing on Chi-Wan's room and shining on half of her bed. The windows in the room are very practical. When covered, the room is completely black. She only closed half of the curtains to distinguish between morning and evening, just to let the sunlight in. Chi-Wan lazily opened her eyes, and this was the best sleep she had ever had in the last 2 years of the apocalypse. There is no mixed odor or noisy sound. Only a comfortable bed and a clean and tidy room. Walking to the bathroom, without toothpaste and toothbrushes, she could only rinse her mouth briefly. Coming to the balcony, I touched my old clothes and they were completely dry. Today she plans to go out for a stroll to avoid tearing her new clothes during zombie fights. She would rather wear old clothes when going out. Yu Guang saw the venue outside and found that there seemed to be more zombies today than yesterday. Yesterday, for at least a few hours, the road was empty and there were no zombies. I don't know where these zombies came from, but having zombies is also good, so her tenants can have enough crystal cores to pay for the room. As soon as he thought about it, he saw Zhao Lejean and Xiao Jinsong walking towards the direction of the zombie. Congratulations on obtaining 20 cement, 20 stone, 20 wood, 20 cloth, and 20 iron nails. Upon hearing the butler's announcement, Chi-Wan knew where these materials came from. She deliberately built the second wooden house on the left yesterday, not only to be symmetrical with the wooden house on the right, but also because there is a 5-story building on the left. Chi-won walked downstairs and first looked at what tasks were to be completed today. Yesterday's 3 tasks were all selling supplies and were quickly completed. She was still holding 3 strawberries and a piece of jerky in her hand, which was the reward for yesterday's task and also her breakfast for today. After getting enough sleep, I don't feel so hungry anymore. Eating anything can fill my stomach. This strawberry is quite sweet, I don't know if it will continue in the future. Eliminate 2 first-level zombies and reward 1 thermos bottle. Eliminate level 2 zombies *1, reward 1.5L*1 all. In point 1 pot reception of guests *10, 10/0, reward for planting black soil *1. Seeing these 3 tasks, Chi-won felt her eyes lit up. After having a water dispenser, she always wanted to drink hot water, but there was no container. Especially with 5 packs of instant noodles left, she needs hot water even more. The hot water in the water dispenser is not hot enough to soften the instant noodles. After a simple stomach, she purchased 10 pieces of wood. Last night, there were still 20 primary crystal nuclei left and 18. Buying wood is quite cost-effective, but iron nails are not at all cost-effective. She would rather work hard to go out and find them than buy them with Hua Jinghe. After purchasing these woods, she can build another wooden house. Through the map, Chi-won could see a 3-story building behind the wooden house where Zhao Lejean lived. Although it may not look high, it occupies a wide area. Chi-won felt that there should be no shortage of materials inside. She doesn't plan to build the wooden house directly this time, she will go there in person. Through these 2 constructions of wooden houses, she has gained a profound understanding. She can only see this panoramic map when she chooses to synthesize a wooden house. When she went to break down the furniture herself yesterday afternoon, there were a lot of supplies available in a room. The materials obtained from building wooden houses are very limited. It seems like just distributing some of the materials to her, and giving more materials to the butler. Chi-won took out the empty water bottle she had already drunk yesterday and filled about half a bottle of cold water in the water dispenser. The cold drink light on the water dispenser turned red. She probably has some understanding of the water dispenser, which can only hold about 500 milliliters of water at a time. After installing it, she can only wait for the light to turn green before continuing to install it. But she hasn't noticed how much time it takes to turn green yet. After taking a sip of water, she tightened the bottle cap and placed it on the ground before walking out. Chi-won only has water-related abilities and no spatial abilities. It's really troublesome to carry a bottle of water on her back when going out. As soon as she walked out, she saw her 4 tenants and walked back with a smiling face. After greeting her, she went back to their respective wooden houses. She looked towards the street in the distance, where only the bodies of zombies lay, and not a single person stood. She bypassed Zhao Lejean's wooden house and arrived at the back building. I saw only a 1-meter passage left in the middle, and the wooden house in front had already occupied the space. If it weren't for the 1-meter ceramic tile protection, the wooden house and the buildings behind it would probably be tightly adjacent. Chi-won carefully pushed open the open door to check if there were any zombies inside. The stick in her hand was tightly grasped, afraid that a zombie would suddenly appear. Her combat ability is not strong, she must train her reaction ability. After looking around, she didn't see any zombies in this room and easily collected the furniture and appliances inside. Congratulations on obtaining wood *17, iron nails *6, cloth *9, and plastic *7. Chi-won saw brand new slippers that she hadn't worn, but after 2 years, she still chose to break them down. At home, go barefoot. Later, she decomposed the things in the other rooms and eliminated 2 zombies trapped at home, struggling and lacking in energy. Congratulations on obtaining wood *68, iron nails *59, cloth *39, plastic *30. Chi-won felt that she had not made a mistake in her analysis. She personally decomposed these materials and could obtain more. If a wooden house is built directly in the location of this building, the materials available are very limited. After she finished handling all the rooms, she didn't even let go of the wooden doors. Looking at the entire building, it was empty, like an unfinished building halfway through. She returned to her own house and saw several men attempting to twist open her door. Chi-won frowned and walked over, saying, "What do you want to do about this house?" The man standing at the front snorted and laughed openly. "What can I do? I just want to get inside." Chi-won lowered her head and let out a cold snort, while her fingers in her right hand swung to loosen her muscles and bones. "Can't you tell that this house is occupied? So what? In this post-apocalyptic world, those with abilities dominate. Even if there is someone living in the house, our brothers will let him let out." End of this chapter.